when I say goodbye to every word you said.
So honestly, with me, we don't really have introductions, Matthew, but we'll do it anyway. Matthew Mull, you know him, you love him. He's here. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
I'm good, thank you. Okay, so you're in a beanie and a sweater. You know that it was spring yesterday? Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, it is spring. Is it spring already?
No, it's not. No, we were all just everyone on Instagram is excited because it was the
Oh,
first,
because the weather,
yeah, good
it's
weather.
definitely been springy. Yeah, my house is kind of cold, so I do normally I do I mean I know I am wearing a t-shirt, but it's a thick t-shirt, so I do need to kind of keep warm when I'm inside. It's weird, but I'll go for a walk or run with my dog later and feel the hint of spring that we're experiencing.
No, definitely. My dog was definitely in the pool. I was not in the pool yesterday. I know it was close. Like it was very close, but it was a little bit
Yes.
like Wim Hofi for me yesterday. I'd like, I don't know about cold water exposure just yet.
Yeah,
Um,
not yet. Well, I can maybe ease into that a little bit.
okay, dude. So, I mean, obviously, you are one of our biggest artists in South Africa, and of
Thanks.
also like export across the world. But who is Matthew Mole when he's not in the recording studio? I mean, you spoke about your dog and walking. Like, who are you in real
Yes.
life?
Yeah, so I'm a person, and yeah, so I mean my favorite thing ever is to write music. I do love to do that, but then I do like other things too. Like yeah, like my wife and my dog, we live here and enjoy each other. And I do, like I was saying, yeah, like you mentioned, running with my dog. I really have gotten into exercise and running over the last 2 years. Yeah, I know running in my mind, I was like, before that, I quite like boxing training. So I had done that for a few years, but then when lockdown came, I just thought a really easy thing to do, I guess when we were allowed to go outside, a really easy thing to do is just run. It's so easy. You just put on shoes and go. And it was really boring at first, but then when I started to see the benefits, it was quite cool. So yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy running, and I really enjoy traveling. So that's where there's a cool like meeting point between music and traveling. I mean, I'm so grateful to be able to travel because of music. But so yeah, I really something I really love, which is I've been very fortunate enough to experience a few times, is being in like a city for the first time. That feeling of being in a completely foreign place, even if it's in South Africa, somewhere I've never been. I love that feeling of just kind of it's completely unfamiliar, and I've got to figure myself out, figure my way around. I don't know. It's I quite like that. So so yeah, so I quite traveling and music definitely go together very well. But yeah, I mean that's kind of me. I'm quite simple, I think, and I like lots of things, but I love very few things. So those are the things that I try and spend my time doing.
So you brought up lockdown, and I was definitely going to ask you a couple of lockdown questions. So while you discovered running,
Yes.
were you taking a time out? Because I mean, like you say, you guys travel and work so much. Was it a time out for you, or were you working and writing and rediscovering things?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the beginning of lockdown, when it seemed like it was only going to be like a month or even 3 months, I wasn't putting too much focus on like I didn't think to myself, okay, I've got to make use of this opportunity and I've got to be creative and write a lot of songs. I did sort of. I kind of just kept doing the thing that I normally do, which is if I get an idea, then I'll write a song. But what I've done in the past is that'll happen. I'll often because the main thing that I think I do is write songs, and then the rest kind of falls around that. And normally, what I would do outside of lockdown is I would have like 3 months of the year that I would dedicate to writing songs only, and like trying not to be distracted by other things. But if there are other times throughout the year when an idea comes and I go with it, then that happens. So I just kind of stuck to the normal way of doing things. And when lockdown first happened, that would have just been when I would be playing shows. And if a random idea comes, then cool, I'll go with it. But then as things got longer and it became more of like a 2 year thing, about a year into it, I thought now I'm going to kind of just make use of the opportunity and not put too much pressure on myself down the line by spending time now writing songs, which was over a year ago. And that was quite fortunate. Like I was fortunate enough to at least it felt like I was fortunate enough to be in a place where I mean it was hard. It was a tough time for everyone in the world, but it was fortunate that I could just kind of be like, okay, let me try and maneuver around this time by at least trying to be creative.
Mm.
So I mean, I saw that as something fortunate.
I mean, you're allowed to, I think a lot of people feel guilty for saying like they were grateful for the time. And yes, the world was struggling, but I also think
Yeah.
we've become so sensitized to speaking truth. When it's good for us, it
Yes.
can still be both. It can still be inherently good and bad at the same time, And
Totally.
you're allowed to celebrate the good and understand the bad.
Yes.
It's not always
So
going to
well
be the
put.
same for everyone, and it's okay to be to appreciate and to look at things with gratitude, even when they were shitty,
Totally.
because
That's
it teaches
amazing.
us things. So
Oh.
you spoke of travel, and I know that you've traveled and you've performed some really incredible things. Can I have like your top three highlights? Like, what were the biggest things you've ever done that you'll never forget?
So I was talking to my wife Jess about it the other day. I'm going over to Germany soon, and one of my favorite memories of playing shows, at least outside. I mean, all my favorite shows, live show memories are in South Africa for sure. But some of my favorite memories outside of South Africa, there's one that really stands out. There was this amazing venue in Hamburg. It was my first time ever kind of being in Germany, especially playing music outside of South Africa. And this was 4 years ago now. And there was this amazing venue that we arrived at in Hamburg. It wasn't a very big venue, but it was this like it felt so historical. It was like all the walls seemed to I don't know what exactly it was, like concrete or something, but it felt like all the walls were marble, and it was like this museum where there were all these like angels, those like you see in museums, like sculptures and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
but they
yeah,
were
yeah,
all
yeah.
built into the walls. And it was so amazing. And it was like this cool tiered venue, so that all the walls like surround and the ceiling surrounding everyone in the venue and behind the stage
Wow.
was all like that, like these amazing statues. And then the room itself was really nice because it was like a tiered kind of room where there were people on the floor, but it also kind of went up. And so the room itself made the experience of arriving there really cool. But then after that, the show itself ended up being the best show of that tour. There were like 15 shows on that tour, and that show I've never forgotten. It was just, I don't know how to explain it. It was just an amazing energy in the room. The people were so amazing, and it was just an unforgettable one. But I think the specific room we were in was
Yeah.
a big contributing factor. But then there's lots of things like that, like cool places. But I mean, Cape Town and Johannesburg and Durban and all the places in South Africa always create all the best memories. I don't know. I guess it's because it's home.
Yeah. Okay, so like you're Matthew Mole for us, and I know that that doesn't necessarily mean that you're Matthew Mole for you. I mean, you're some version of Matthew Mole for you, but like when you're at home, you're
Yes.
not Matthew Mole. Do you ever have moments where you're playing that amazing, beautiful venue and you're looking around and you're sound checking, you're like, wow, how am I like, how did I get here?
Oh, totally. Every time, which is that's so cool. To that you ask that because yeah, I mean, it happens naturally, almost all the time. Luckily, I say luckily it happens naturally. Like every time yeah, like a sound check or at a show itself or whatever, just traveling somewhere because of music. I'm always like, this is crazy. This doesn't make sense. It feels like it doesn't make sense. Like, why am I getting to do this just because of some songs that I wrote and sang? And like I say, like fortunately that happens naturally because maybe there are times when it isn't so fun, like the 8 hour drive from one place to another place when I want to be at home or something. Um, I don't know, maybe sometimes there are times when like I'd rather be here experiencing like the personal memories with my wife and stuff. But so then those are times when it's still amazing. What I'm experiencing is amazing, but I have to kind of remind myself, like, listen, yeah, you could be home, but right now this is an amazing experience. So I mean, there have been times when I've had to tell myself that, but most of the time, 90% of the time, it's always like, wow, this is amazing, and I'm very grateful. So I just hope it stays like that.
I think it will. I think what I think you don't seem like the kind of person, and now you've already been in this industry for fucking ever. Sorry. I always say it and then they shout at me. I'm so sorry. You've been in this industry forever. I think that if it was gonna happen that you were gonna become one of those people that like lose that connection, it would have happened already. But
Oh
you brought
wow,
up something that I
thanks.
wanted to chat about because I've
Yes.
never actually spoken about touring, and I have been privy
Mm,
to a couple of tours. And I know that as
yes.
much as they're fun, by like day 5, I'm done and I now want to go home. Like I've done, and then I'll leave, but the guys can't leave. So
Yes.
as Matthew Mole, when you're touring, firstly, who are you touring with and what does that look like? Like, are you guys, because I think South Africans also assume that like you're in this American tour bus, like, you know, those
Uh,
MTV movie music award things, and like you're in a
yes.
tour bus and there are girls and jacuzzis and champagne. What does the tour look like for Matthew Mole?
Yeah, that's so cool. I've never actually been asked that, and it's such a fun part of it is like talking about the how it looks, like not on stage, but everything else. And so firstly, it's a small group of us. There's only four of us that travel together. Sometimes we'll bring someone will bring their wife or girlfriend or something if it's like a nice place that like a nice weekend or something that we can have. But all it's always nice places. But I mean, if they can make use of the weekend. Then, but it's myself, and then there are different guys that that will play drums with me. But there's specifically two guys that will come with one at a depending on who's available. And then there's the sound engineer and there's the road manager, the tour manager. Most of the time it's the four of us. Sometimes there could be more crew people that come if we need some extra tech guys on hand or like a lighting guy or other managers or something. But most of the time it's the four of us. And what's so cool is we've all become so close from traveling together. I think that's something that it makes people super close, brings you together. And what's so cool is like we've gotten to know each other so well that we don't annoy each other. I mean, we can annoy each other when we want to, but I think like traveling with people can be such a tough thing to find the right combination of people that you travel with that you're comfortable with and you don't get annoyed by the whole time and like I don't know, you just kind of get used to them. And it's that we've been so fortunate in finding such a cool group, and no one is like crazy. So when we want to have fun, yeah, we'll go and have fun, but no one does like crazy stuff. So there's no like you were saying, like there's no girls backstage or no one's like doing drugs or whatever. I'm not, yeah, I don't know. I've never really been exposed to the whole proper rock star lifestyle, I guess. I don't even know what that is because everything I've experienced has been really cool. Like it's been, I don't know. I don't want to say safe, but it's been nice. So yeah, it's quite a clean version of I don't know touring. Like what we try to do now is we'll get to wherever the city is that we're going to, and the first thing we'll look for is a cool route that we can all go run. We'll all run like 5Ks, and then we're all running and we're thinking we really are not that cool. This makes us like really nerdy, I think, which is nice. At least we're all in it together.
No, you know what I
Yeah.
think? I was actually speaking to someone last week about this, and he's also a rock star, bona fide rock star, just like yourself.
Yeah. Oh
Lived
wow.
that
I'm
hard,
not.
hard, hard in their life, and he's
Okay.
done a 180. I'm sure you know. I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure you kind of have an idea. Anyway, so he was just
Yes.
saying like he's into running now, and he's looking at climbing mountains, and he's doing marathons, and I was just like,
Yes.
I think the world is shifting. You know,
Yeah.
people that would like take time out of their day to go run with their dog and stuff used to be 1% of the population. People
Yes.
now realize that it's not just a physical thing. It's actually a mental health thing to go and move your
Totally.
body and get out in the sun. And it unfortunately took the 2 years of not being able to do anything and being confined to these spaces that I
Yep.
think we're now looking at people like yourself and going, you're actually an inspiration. Whereas
Wow.
I would have given you so much shit about this, Matthew. A couple of years back, I would have dragged you. I would have been like, yes, Matthew, go run, go do it. But now I'm exactly the same because I understand that
Oh,
it's
amazing.
not an aesthetic thing, you know? Talk to
Yes.
me a little bit about that because
Yeah.
obviously you're human, right? And
Totally.
you're always working, always busy, but you have a life outside of that. How do you balance that human emotion, mental health, rock stardom? People are singing your lyrics back. You're getting onto a bus, dead cold, like that is now gone. You're alone, you're away from your family. What do you do to balance all of these highs and lows?
Yeah, wow, that's so cool. You make me sound way cooler than I am. So I'm
You
not really
are
that cool,
that
but thanks. No, not really, but thank you. But yeah, that's quite a cool thing because it's like within the space of half an hour or 15 minutes, you could go from like on stage having such a cool time, it's such a high energy thing, and then suddenly like you're back at at the hotel or in the car or whatever, and it's just like you say, yeah, it's completely like some people are already asleep or within such a short space of time. I find that quite fascinating. So I mean, I do think I don't know, like what you're saying, like the running and whatever other forms of other like outlets, definitely, I think that definitely helps, like just with processing everything that goes on in my head. And I've always quite found that like quite interesting, the whole idea of like we can be on stage and there could be some kind of amazing show happening, and then suddenly you're not, and you have to just wind down in 10 minutes. And I quite like that because I think because I'm super introverted, I quite like that. I I get super I that's how I recharge is probably most of the time is by myself or with people that I'm very comfortable with. And but then on the other side of things, like I love playing shows and being on stage and interacting with people. It's amazing. But that's only like an hour and a half max, and then sometimes we'll hang out with people afterwards for like half an hour, and then I'm just happy, I think, when I go. I mean, I'm as happy when I go into just that quiet space. I'm kind of like, cool, now I can recharge. It's very weird, like going from the two extremes, but I think it works for the introvert that I am.
How does an
Yeah.
introverted kid back in the day become Matthew Mole? How does that work?
Uh, I, I, that's the kind of something I'm trying to trying to work out. I've been trying to work that out for a little while, and but that's the thing, I guess. I think some people think that I'm cooler than I really am. I'm really not that cool, actually. Which I mean, I'll take it, but like uh, I think writing songs works well for introverts really well. And I think because I mean, it's especially if you can write songs by yourself, that's something that I can only really do. I struggle to write songs with other songwriters. I'm trying to do it more because it's fun, but I struggle to open up to other people. So when I'm alone and I write songs, I think that helps. Like it works well with the introvert in me. And then I don't know. That's something I've always just tried to put a lot of effort into is the songwriting process. And then it's cool to see like if you put if you do your best in everything else and you get people to help you with everything else, it in music at least, I don't know, but I think a lot of it comes down to the songs. If that's what you want to be as someone that writes songs and then sings them and hopes that other people will like them, if you put a lot of effort into that creation process, the rest it makes the rest of the process a little bit easier, a little bit, not easy, but easier. So I don't know. I guess maybe something like that. I've spent I think most of my life now writing songs, so maybe it's that.
What was your
Yeah.
plan B? Did you have a plan B?
I didn't have a plan B. I think this wasn't even a plan. So to be able to just play music as a career, it wasn't even a plan. My first plan was actually I knew that I liked music when I finished school. I had no idea what I wanted to do because I was like, you can't be a musician. That's not even a real thing. That's what I thought. So then I studied music production, audio engineering, sound. Like I was gonna maybe work either at like festivals, live sound companies, or maybe go work in a studio, which would be lots of fun. I would enjoy that because I love the technical side of it. So that's what I studied for. It was a 2 year course, and then during that time that I was studying, I had so much access to free recording studios because that's what was part of what we had to do. So then rather than like everyone else was recording other bands because they were there because they wanted to learn how to be an engineer.
Yes.
But I was just there because it just formed part of music that I loved. So I would rather than getting other bands in to record them, I would just write my own songs, record my own songs, and then that helped because then I had like all these songs that were recorded. They were considered home demos because I did them myself, and they didn't sound that amazing. And then I guess it just things ended up picking up, and then that ended up being Plan B, I guess, because Plan A was to be more behind the scenes. But I'm so thankful, and seem to be going well, so I'm going with it basically.
No, keep going with it. I think, you know what I think
Thanks.
with this? I always ask everyone, like, should people study? Did it help you? It obviously did help you, right? During those 2 years,
Totally.
because you have an understanding of the industry that you wouldn't have.
For sure. Yes, it definitely has helped me, especially with like in a live setting. I kind of know how to communicate with the sound engineers there, and in a studio, I know exactly what I want and what I'm looking for. So that helps. But then, yeah, I totally think like like my wife, for example, she studied like 3 or 4 different things that have helped her so much in the businesses that she started and the work that she does. So I do think that yeah, I think it's important to study, but it's tough. I guess like it's really it's helpful when it's something that you really want to study and you know that it's going to help you,
Yeah.
and I think that's what's important, I guess, to try and have that mindset.
Yeah.
But I don't know how easy that is to say and do, but I definitely think studying is important.
If it's for you, because
Yes,
I'm
yes.
also I stand for those kids that aren't scholarly like I was not.
Oh,
I don't
yes.
I don't even have a trick, but I'm here for education. I just think, like you say, you've got to
You don't
find
really need it.
what works for you.
Exactly.
You
Because
know?
I'm the same as you, I think. I'm not scholarly at all. I just went and did music production because it didn't feel like studying and it was just something I loved. So yeah, I guess there's some kind of balance that you can find in between there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Okay, so let's talk about the single that I'm about to play. It is called Goodbye.
Yes.
And you say we've all been through a lot recently. We've had to find ways to
Yeah.
overcome. Hopefully, the song is going to be encouragement to people in difficult circumstances. Is this a sad song, Matthew? Have you gifted us a sad song?
So I love that you asked that because goodbye makes it sound sad, right? But no, it's I mean, it might initially sound like it's sad, but it's got like a slow burn, slow build, but it's actually meant to be a song that's like a declaration of victory sort of thing. So goodbye refers to like saying goodbye to all the things in life that we allow to get in the way sort of thing, like the lies that we believe about ourselves or I don't know, like fear and intimidation, that kind of stuff. So that's what the song is saying. It's like declaring, I'm going to move on stronger and say goodbye to all of that nonsense. So that's what it's about. So I'm hoping that it's actually a happy song.
Power song. This is your power
Power,
song.
I like that.
Say goodbye and like move into your power. While you were
Yes,
writing this, Matthew, you spoke a little bit about talking, like losing the lies that you tell yourself about yourself. Did
yes.
you work through some of those things writing this? Did you say goodbye to versions of yourself?
Oh, totally. I mean, so I there's lots of things that I believe about myself that a lot of people do, like common things I would imagine are common, like that I'm not good enough to, or I don't know, like if I write a small example is like, oh, if I write a song, the whole time that I'm writing that song, I'm thinking, nah, I don't really know what I'm doing. This is no good. This is horrible. No one's gonna like it. That's like a small example that I can apply to me. That like, there's lots of like bigger things that I think like fear is a huge thing that really gets in the way of any decision that you make, and it really influences a decision in the worst way. So stuff like that I've dealt with my whole life, but I don't necessarily have the answer. But this song is kind of more representing like it definitely represents what was going on in my head. It's more like I'm in the process of saying goodbye to those things. I've decided, yes, that's enough, fear and all of that stuff. But I guess it's not like an overnight thing, and that's kind of what the song's about. It's like, you know, I'm definitely, but yeah, like to answer your question, totally. There's a lot of things that I'm saying goodbye to.
It's awesome to me to speak to people like yourself, like these established amazing musicians, and we look at you on Instagram and we watch your music videos and we listen to your music, we see your interviews, and like
Oh,
you have
thanks.
clearly to us got your shit together, life is great, the money truck is there, like you are living, and it's really refreshing to have someone as authentic as you and go, no, sometimes I'm not okay, but that's also okay. Like you
Yes. Oh, thanks. That's amazing.
no,
That's
it's good.
exactly right.
We need more of you because I think we attain to your life, but we forget that your life, as much as it's gonna like be amazing, we're still gonna have the same unhappiness and self-doubt and imposter syndrome and all of the stuff. Like,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, I guess there's no, it's like life is like, it sounds so cheesy, but it's like it's this journey to like a lot of us think like there's this place we need to be at,
Yes.
and then once we reach that point, everything's gonna be happy and amazing. Once I have this much money or this career or whatever. And I guess I mean it's said a lot, but I guess that's not how it is, right? There's like it's just a constant journey of doing your best,
No, but
pretty
also
much.
this conversation has been a reminder for me that wherever you are, you need to be doing the internal work. Even if
Yes,
you want to get there, you've still got to be saying goodbye and you've got to be saying,
totally, totally. It's like it's work, like you say.
okay, so the song is out, right? It's everywhere.
It's out now. Yes,
So
it's
we
just
can
come out.
stream it, we can download it, we can make TikToks about it, we can do all of the things.
All of that stuff, all the good old internet things. Yeah, that's all possible with this song.
Okay, so I know that you have just dropped this song, but I would not be doing my job if I didn't ask you this next question, which I don't like, but I have to. What is next? Like, what are you doing at the moment?
I love that. I love that question. Because it's good to always have a plan, right? And so I'm going on tour. I'm leaving on tour in a few days. We're going to be on tour for like a month and a bit in Europe.
Wow.
And then around that time, I do have a plan for 2 other songs to come out before the end of the year. And then next year, as the year starts, there will be plans for an album. But I'm kind of that's all I'm really saying at the moment because I still want to make sure it's the perfect release plan. Well, not perfect, that doesn't exist, but I want it to be cool. And so yeah, so there's a lot coming up, but for now, there are at least 2 more songs coming out before the year ends.
Okay. Sorry, I hate that question because I feel like it puts unnecessary pressure on people. Like,
No, not at all.
what is your next thing? You know, like,
I see what you're saying, but I love that. I like it. It's good. Keeps me on my toes.
the tour that you're going on, can people who live that side, can they get tickets still? Where do they go? How do they find out?
They can, yeah. So there are tickets. There are tickets available for most of the shows still, as far as I'm aware, and it's mostly just all over Europe and the UK for now. And that's if you just go to matthewmole.com, there'll be ticket info there, or social media, or wherever. But yes, stuff is available. So thanks for the punt.
I still have to kind of do my job. Like, I can unpack your mind, but I still also need the radio questions, you know. But this has been incredibly enlightening. I've loved meeting you. This
Yes.
is really awesome. I'm gonna ask you one last deep question before I say goodbye to you. For
Nice.
people watching that look up to you, and this is a big responsibility question, I'm sorry. For people
I
that
love
look
it.
up to you that are struggling with the space that they're in right now, what would you have as advice for them?
Yeah. I mean, so I could only really say stuff that I try to apply to my life, but I know it's tough. When you're going through something difficult, you feel like there are no answers and no one can help. But it's not true. That's definitely not true. And there are practical things you could do, like just like small victories in like just getting stuff done helps. But also for me, what I found is when stuff seems difficult, the last thing you want someone to tell you is, "Don't worry, this won't last forever. It's going to be
Yeah.
better. It's going to get better soon." But I mean, it sucks to hear that because you just want like an immediate, just tell me how to sort this out now. But it is true because things will get better if you just look at the fact that you're still alive. That's a huge thing. But also, what I've learned about that is when things don't go the way that you want them to go, it's tough when you don't have control, when you feel like you don't have nothing's in your control. But I guess not everything is always going to be in your control. But when things don't go your way, the way that you wanted them to go, there's always something that you're going to learn and get stronger from in that. And that's something that I've really learned. And I'm still alive, which is cool. So I think that's something you definitely if you're still alive, then good job. You're doing a really good job.
And those are the words of wisdom from Matthew Mole himself. Dude, thank you so much. Good luck with your tour. Break legs, have fun, don't behave too well.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you when you're back this side, definitely.
Yes, please. That sounds good. Thank you so much for your time and for the chat. It was awesome.
Thank you for yours. It's been really cool. Thanks, Matthew.
Oh.
Enjoy the rest of your week.
You too.
Bye.
Cheers.
Jacaranda FM.